That strange moment when you wake up in the morning and your body doesn't feel quite like your own. Your legs feel heavier than they used to. Your memory takes just a second longer to catch up. And maybe, just maybe, you've started taking a few extra vitamins, thinking you're doing something good for your health. But here's the uncomfortable question. What if some of those vitamins are quietly doing the exact opposite? Today we're talking about something that surprises even highly educated adults over 50. The topic is simple, but the consequences are not. 4. Vitamins seniors must avoid and 4 must take, doctor advice. And before you assume this is just another generic list, let me share something that might change how you see your daily routine. According to research from the National Institutes of Health, nearly 70% of adults over 60 take dietary supplements regularly. But here's the part that rarely gets discussed. A significant portion of them are taking combinations that may increase their risk of heart issues, kidney strain, or even cognitive decline. Now think about that for a second. Have you ever wondered why you can be doing everything right, taking your vitamins, staying consistent, and still feel like your energy, your focus, or your strength is slipping? Or why some people in their 70s seem sharp, active, and independent, while others struggle, even though they're both taking supplements? There's a hidden layer to this, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me tell you about Richard. He's 68, retired, lives a fairly active life, walks every morning, eats what he believes is a healthy diet, and takes a handful of vitamins every day. Vitamin E, calcium, a multivitamin, and a few extras he picked up from the pharmacy. For years he thought he was protecting his body, but slowly he started noticing subtle changes. A bit more fatigue, occasional dizziness. His doctor eventually pointed out something that shocked him. It wasn't what he wasn't taking. It was what he was taking too much of. And that brings us to something most people over 50 aren't told clearly enough. Your body after 50 doesn't process nutrients the same way it did at 30 or 40. Think of your body like a finely tuned engine. When you're younger, it can handle fluctuations. Too much here, too little there, it adjusts. But as you age, that flexibility narrows. Your liver processes more slowly, your kidneys filter less efficiently, your gut absorbs nutrients differently. So what used to be harmless can quietly become harmful. It's a bit like watering a plant. Too little water, it dries out. Too much, the roots begin to rot. And the tricky part? Both problems look similar at first glance. Now here's where it gets interesting. Not all vitamins are created equal, and more importantly, not all vitamins are meant to be taken freely, especially after 50. Let's start with one of the most common and most misunderstood. Vitamin E. But here's what many don't realize. High doses of vitamin E, especially from supplements, not food, have been linked to an increased risk of bleeding. The American Heart Association has discussed how excessive antioxidant supplementation doesn't always translate to better outcomes. Now you might be thinking, but I'm just taking the recommended dose. That's the catch. Many multivitamins already contain vitamin E. Add a separate supplement and suddenly you're doubling your intake. And your body? It doesn't just flush it out. Vitamin E is fat-soluble. That means it gets stored. It builds up over time, quietly. So what's the practical step here? Instead of automatically taking a vitamin E supplement, focus on natural sources like nuts, seeds, and leafy greens. And more importantly, check your labels. That one small habit alone can prevent unnecessary overload. But that's just the beginning. Let's move to something even more common. Calcium supplements. Now this one surprises a lot of people. For years, calcium has been associated with bone health. Strong bones, fracture prevention. It sounds essential, especially as we age. And yes, calcium is important. But here's where things shift. Excess calcium from supplements, not food, has been linked to an increased risk of arterial calcification. In simple terms, calcium meant for your bones can sometimes end up in your arteries. Imagine your arteries like flexible garden hoses. Over time, they naturally stiffen. But when excess calcium deposits build up, it's like those hoses becoming rigid pipes. Blood flow becomes less efficient. Pressure increases. And that's where heart risks quietly rise. So what's the smarter approach? Instead of relying heavily on calcium pills, focus on dietary sources, like dairy, fortified plant milk, or leafy greens. And if supplements are needed, they should be balanced carefully, often alongside vitamin D. Speaking of which, let's talk about vitamin D, but not in the way you expect. Most people know vitamin D is important. In fact, it's one of the vitamins seniors often need more of. But here's the twist. Too much of it can create problems just as easily as too little. High doses of vitamin D supplements can lead to elevated calcium levels in the blood, and that circles us right back to potential kidney strain and vascular issues. So again, it's not about avoiding vitamin D entirely, it's about balance. Now, here's a question worth asking yourself. When was the last time you actually reviewed your supplement routine? Not just what you take, but why you take it. Because this next one is something almost nobody talks about: iron supplements. Iron is essential, no doubt about it. But for many adults over 50, especially men and postmenopausal women, routine iron supplementation may not be necessary, unless there's a diagnosed deficiency. And excess iron? That's where the issue begins. Your body has limited ways to eliminate excess iron, so it accumulates. And over time, it can contribute to oxidative stress, affecting organs like the liver and heart. It's like rust slowly forming inside a machine. You don't notice it immediately, but over time, performance declines. Now pause for a second and think. How many people do you know who take iron just in case? This is where awareness becomes power, because now we shift gears. We've talked about what to be cautious with. But what about what your body actually needs more of after 50? Let's start with one of the most overlooked, vitamin B12. As we age, the stomach produces less acid. That might sound minor, but it directly affects your ability to absorb B12 from food, and B12 is critical for nerve function, energy levels, and even memory. Low B12 doesn't always show up dramatically. It creeps in. Fatigue, brain fog, tingling in the hands or feet. Sound familiar? That's why many older adults benefit from B12 supplementation, especially in forms that are easier to absorb. And here's something interesting. Many people assume their diet is enough, but even a balanced diet may not provide sufficient absorbable B12 after 60. Now let's talk about magnesium. This is one of those quiet heroes. Magnesium supports muscle function, heart rhythm, and even sleep quality. And yet, a large percentage of older adults don't get enough. Why? Because modern diets often lack magnesium-rich foods. And certain medications can reduce magnesium levels. Ever experienced muscle cramps at night? Or restless sleep? Magnesium might be part of that puzzle. And then there's omega-3 fatty acids. Not technically a vitamin, but incredibly important. These support heart health, reduce inflammation, and may even play a role in maintaining cognitive function. Think of omega-3s as oil for your internal engine. They help everything run smoother. Now here's where we bring it all together. Because information alone isn't enough. What matters is what you do with it. Imagine starting your day not as someone passively taking pills, but as someone actively protecting their future. A simple routine could look like this. You wake up, hydrate first, not coffee, water. You give your body what it needs after hours of rest. You take only the supplements that are actually beneficial for your age and condition. Not everything on the shelf, not what advertisements push. But what your body genuinely needs. You stay aware. You read labels. You ask questions. Because here's the truth most people don't realize until it's too late. Health after 50 isn't about doing more, it's about doing what's right, and doing it consistently. Now I'm curious, have you ever taken a vitamin thinking it was helping, only to later question it? If so, tell me in the comments. Your experience might help someone else avoid the same mistake. And if you're someone who wants clear, research-based guidance like this, without the noise and confusion, consider subscribing. Because this isn't about trends, it's about giving you the knowledge to stay independent, strong, and in control of your health. At the end of the day, your body is not failing you, it's changing, And once you understand those changes, once you adjust with them instead of against them, everything starts to feel different. You move with more confidence, you think with more clarity, you live with more control. And that's the real goal here, not just living longer, but living better, one informed decision at a time.